The Iceberg Technique is a way of writing used by Ernest Hemingway and some other authors in the 1900s, and it's mainly about the concept of showing the reader what's in the text and not telling him or her what to read into it. So the concept of the Iceberg Technique can be shown by using the metaphor of an iceberg, of course. And you should see here, we see the Titanic, who is riding over the ocean, and as you know from the movie, or have you seen that, you know the Titanic is riding here, and then you see this iceberg, you see this tip of the iceberg, and sort of thinks that we can hit that because it's just an iceberg and it's nothing to do. But the thing with an iceberg is that you see just the top, and then beneath you can have like this huge mound of ice. So what happens here is that the Titanic is moving forwards and just crashing into this iceberg and sinks, as you know. So what the people of the Titanic saw is not the full story, which is true for the Iceberg Technique as well, because in a text written with an Iceberg Technique, you have like, this is the actual text, but everything, all these things that we know of literature is right underneath here. You got the emotions, you got, well, everybody's feelings and everything. So you have a lot that's hidden under the surface, which you don't see in the plain text. To illustrate this, you can see this text, which goes like, he saw the sun shining through the trees, and it felt like anything was possible on this day. It was his 30th birthday, but he felt like 17. Where we, as readers, are told what he saw, of course, and then we are told what he felt, like anything was possible on this day. It was his 30th birthday, but he felt like 17, which is typical of telling us what it's all about. So compare that with this one, where you say, the sun shone through the trees, and I feel like I can do anything today, he said. And dude, you're turning 30 today, relax. And yeah, but I feel like I'm 17. So here we can see a typical example of showing someone what's happening. Instead of, we're saying the same thing. He saw the sun shining through the trees, and the sun shone through the trees, so is what it's doing. And then instead of a narrator saying that he felt like anything was possible, he says himself, I feel like I can do anything, which sort of anything's possible. And then his friend says, dude, you're turning 30, which we had in like the narrator's text here. And yeah, but I feel like I'm 17. So instead of telling us through a narrator, we're told through dialogue. So when you're looking at something written with the Iceberg Technique, you need to focus on the dialogue in the writing, not so much the flavor text. And when we're talking about Ernest Hemingway and the Iceberg Technique, there was one very, very short story that he wrote, or it's said that he had written it. It's not perfectly proven that he's done it. It's a very, very short one, but he feels like it's some of the best things he'd ever written. It goes like this. It's for sale. Baby shoes. Never worn. That's the whole story. It might seem a bit simple to begin with, because it's just 6 words, and what should it say? But it says very, very much if you think about it. I mean, here we need to look at context. What is this? It's a story about some people, I guess. We're having probably a couple who are selling. I mean, for sale, this is probably an ad in a newspaper or something. So they're selling something. They're selling their baby shoes, which has never been worn. They've never been used. So what do we see here? Do we see a story about a couple who has had an abortion? Do we see a misconception? Do we see a baby that's been stillborn, that's been dead when it was given birth to? do we have a child that's died very, very, very young? I mean, this is a very tragic story in many ways, but it's told through this very simple newspaper ad style, with no feelings, no telling us what to think, just these 6 words from the ad. So it's for sale, baby shoes never worn, and that's the whole story. This is sort of the Iceberg Technique taken to the extreme. This is not the regular way of writing, even when it comes to Hemingway, but it's a very good example. The Iceberg Technique, to conclude, is a way of showing the reader what is, not telling too much. Really, we should see the environment, we should see the characters, and we should hear them talk. We should not be told what they're feeling. You should not tell that somebody is scared. You should just let them know it through other means, like dialogue. Somebody's talking about his fear of flying or anything. That's what it is. Things written in the Iceberg Technique tend to be a bit short on words. It tends to be concentrated literature, where you need to look at almost every word, where you have every sentence mean something. Everyone saying something is important, because this is not these novels of 800 pages. This can be 3 pages of something, but it sort of opens up to a much bigger world. So that's a short stuff on the Iceberg Technique, and hope you enjoy the video.